So here's what's unique about Landbank Properties, and this is what I love about novice and entry level point into real estate. You don't already have to have the actual cash. You can buy the property. They actually ask you when you create your account to put a credit card on file, because if you win a bid, they're going to at least take $1,000 off your credit card. Going forward, so once you win a bid, they're going to give you a check. You get a compliance officer who's going to give you a checklist over 12 months. They ask that you complete the items on the checklist as far as renovation is concerned. Now, before closing, and this is what I like about it, you actually don't have to have cash. You can actually close with a credit card. You can put the balance. So if you win a property for $5,000, they'll take that initial $1,000, but the other $4,000 you can send to a title company with a credit card.
Yo, what up, man? It's the boy Pushmanmitch, the host of the No Fluff podcast, man. And I'm back with a crazy episode. I got my brother Charles Noonan, aka the GOAT, when it comes to finding Landbank Properties, man. He don't leave nothing, no stone unturned. My man ain't got plenty of properties in Boston. He got properties in Detroit. He got properties in New York. Now, am I saying the wrong states? Because you know what? All them up north states sound the same to me. I know you told me a couple of them. Where you got properties at, bro?
Mainly New York and Detroit.
New York and Detroit. If y'all don't know, if you're not familiar with Detroit, that's where Big Sean is from. You know, he say, "I do it,
That's
boy,
right.
boy." No,
Yo.
I'm just joking.
I'll tell you
Well, welcome to
something.
the show, bro. Wait, welcome to
Yeah,
the show.
Thank you.
Hey, man, I've been trying to get you on here, bro. You one of my star mentees as well, too. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
let's
So
go.
I learned from you, and you learned from me. It's just like, yo, it's called iron sharpens iron. So I had to get you on the show, man, because this shit is crazy, bro. What you doing with the Landbank Properties?
Perfect. One of the reasons I picked Detroit, though, people ask me that a lot. Why did I focus on Detroit, or why do I have so many properties in Detroit? I always thought Detroit was really one of those cities that was at the bottom. So I felt like if you started at the bottom, it's a low entry point, too, because the houses don't cost a lot. It has the ability to appreciate way more than any other city. There's a lot more investments going on. Dan Gilbert does a lot there. Amazon has new facilities there. So I figured just strategically, as far as an investment into real estate, it's a good idea to do something in a city that has the ability to appreciate a lot more.
No, that's dope. That's super smart. A lot of people try to get stuff when it's already hot. They try to strike when things are hot, and then like we all know, it's too late. Then it's like the same thing as the stock market.
Yep.
Something that already got hot popping. They were trying to do it with Dogecoin, the crypto market. They try to do it now with Amazon. They try to do it now with Google. Now that they like the best type of stocks that you can get. Everybody want to jump on a wave, but the key is to find things that have the ability to appreciate. And
Yeah.
you know, that's dope, man. Because Detroit is a lot like that. A lot of my friends and family, they've been able to get properties out there for lower, multi-families and
Yep.
things like that. So that makes sense what you're saying, bro. So let's talk about who is Charles? Like, who do you want us to know, and why should we know you, and why should we be following you?
All right, so I would say definitely follow me, because I'm going to teach people how to invest in real estate, but invest in real estate with a strategy that's going to allow you to build generational wealth. One of the things I learned along my path, along my journey, as I started to invest in real estate in New York, I realized the market was priced out for an entry-level investor. So New York or different popular cities, the price of investments are so high. We're buying 3-family properties where if one tenant missed their rent, we had to come out of our pocket to make the mortgage because the mortgage was so high. So after maybe 5 or 6 years of investing, I realized that it really wasn't a good investment. Yes, it's nice to own property. It's nice to have your name on a property. And you kind of think you're leaving your kids generational wealth. But with the cost of real estate, I found we were really leaving our kids generational debt. So I just started to research the market. I came up on something called the Land Bank. And what I realized about land banks is they're able to offer the public, as long as you have an interest in uplifting the community, they were able to offer properties at as low as $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in Detroit.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. That reminds me of Philly when we had the dollar housing. That's the dopest thing ever. So that's dope, but I want to know who you are. Where you from?
Oh, from New York, born and raised. A lot of people that are from New York, right? You start out in the 5 boroughs, but then as you grow, as your businesses grow, as you get older, you kind of migrate a little bit to outer parts of the city. So I live in Westchester County over probably the last 10 years, but born and raised in the Bronx.
Dope in the Bronx. I used to live in the Bronx, man. The PJs.
Which one?
I don't know what they was called. I was on like 188th Street.
Oh, okay, that's near Fordham Road.
Yeah. I was out there and getting busy. You know, not too long, but I was out there long enough to know that it's the hood.
It's the hood, but it's gonna teach you. It's gonna prepare you.
No, I like New York. I've always liked New York. I just hate when it get cold.
Yeah, it gets unnecessarily cold.
Yeah, I'm cool and all that. That's why I had to migrate south. I'm from Philly, but you know, we used to always go to New York too when we was growing up. We used to go to the warehouses to get all of the throwback jerseys and all that.
Right.
And the Timbs and all that. And we would come back to the hood, and then my dad would sell all them Johns on the street on like 57th and Market Street.
Nice.
Yeah, we was getting busy. New York got all the hustlers, man. They don't play.
That's where you learn, man. That's where you learn.
So what introduced you to entrepreneurship though?
It started when I was young, and I feel a lot of entrepreneurs, you can tell who's going to be an entrepreneur early on. So initially, my first memory of being an entrepreneur was asking an older guy on the block if I could use his bike to do his paper route, right? So I noticed he would just ride his bike, collect money, come back to the block and just hang out with everybody else. But he was making money. So I asked him for about 50%. I said, if I go collect the money for you, can I keep some of it? Then I also kind of brokered a deal where I asked him if I could use the bike, right? If I use the bike to collect the money, would you allow me to just ride it regularly? Because, you know, growing up, I didn't have a bike. Everybody else on the block had a bike. So eventually he was like, all right, you know, I'll let you ride the bike if you go collect the money. Then later on, once you come back, if I'm not using it, you can use it. So that's how I hustled my first job and my first bike.
Damn, that's crucial. So you got a good taste earlier. Like me, I ain't start tasting blood till I was older. Like I was like 25 years old, and I ain't never really do anything to earn my own money. I would just go from jobs to jobs, and independent contract and things like that. So I really ain't have that, you know, entrepreneurial background. So I always thought entrepreneur meant you ain't have a job, and then I clearly learned later that that's not true. And most of the people who we look up to and who have all those things that I want in my life, they are entrepreneurs.
Yeah, but I think you learn early on. And then some of it is forced, right? So I didn't come from a privileged background. Mm-hmm. My mom's worked nights, and she had a job at night and a job in the daytime. Yeah. So I really had to fend for myself for the most part.
That's spicy, man. So let's talk about how we met, right? Because you one of my mentees. You was able to, you know, get a whole bunch of whips under your belt. You was able to get, I know you got the Maybach this year. You got the Lambo Urus this year. You got the Ghost too. Crazy, man. So let's talk about that, man. How did that come about?
Again, so it started out with my son actually watching a video on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And he told me, he's like, Dad, let me use your extra car. Right? And I'm like, what do you mean let you use my extra car? So he's like, nah, I just watched this video, and it was about Toro. So he asked me to put the car on, and I did my research, and I looked it up, and I was like, you know, it's not a bad idea. So I got one car on, and that one car that we never really used, probably made like $800-900, right? And from there, we just took off. So one car led to two. Then I really started to dig in because I was actually making real money. Mm-hmm. So probably I got to about 15 cars, and then I some way, somehow found you on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. Found you on Instagram. And then the stuff that you was giving away, I really gravitated to it. And not that I just listened to it, I actually implemented into what we was doing.
Right.
So again, just the entrepreneur, the hustler, I found out how to do it in New York, which there aren't many people that could do it in New York. So the people that do it in New York, they really come through me.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Crucial. You took over the scene.
But a lot of it, I gotta say, came from you, right? Just seeing other people do it. Mm-hmm. One of the things I also wanted to mention is, growing up, I didn't see a lot of people doing a lot of things, right? And that's one of the benefits of the internet or Instagram. You're able to see other people in different parts of the country that are doing things. Mm-hmm. So it really gravitated to you and how you was really just giving away game on the internet.
At all times, it's mandatory now.
Yeah, but so what I did, I executed.
Facts.
Right? So I took those 15 cars, turned it into 20 turned it into 30. We started doing business together. I started sending you referrals. You started sending me referrals. I learned about the mentorship. So I'm in New York. Everybody's asking me how, and then I start sending them to you.
Right.
you got people in New York. You're like, hey, call my man Charles. And then we just grew the relationship like that. So
Facts. That's super dope. So I remember when you got the Urus and you was telling me, you called me where I would think I was in like DR.
You was in DR.
Right. It was crazy. And you called me, you was like, yo, I just got this Urus, man. How do I cut it on?
I got the key. I was so amped. I jumped in the car, right? And I'm looking like, where do you put the key? I'm thinking, I know everything, right? First Lamborghini.
Right.
Gotta admit, props to you. Got me into Lamborghinis because I more so was into the Mercedes, the BMWs, more of the luxury line, but got into the Lamborghini. So I said, oh shoot, I don't know how to start this. He got me into it. Let me call him. I was gonna show you anyway, but I was gonna flex on the road, right?
Right.
So I said, I hope he answers because I don't know how to start it, right? So I called you up. You're like, yo, I'm in DR. You got to be quick. I'm like, all right, I got this shit. Just show me how to turn it on.
Right.
So I turned it on. Yo, I'm learning so much about that car, man. And even last week, I didn't know how to put it in neutral.
Right.
Right.
So now you know.
Yeah.
So you might as well just tell a podcast how.
For everybody out there, when you get your first Lamborghini Urus, you want to make some noise. You want to play with the gas pedal and make that thing growl. You press both paddle shifters at the same damn time.
That's it. And that's for Huracans, Aventadors, and Uruses. So all them Lambos do the same thing. Boop, you have both. You in neutral. You can rev it up. Yum, 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 yum. You know what I'm saying? Give people the show they want to see. But no, I was just proud that you was even doing it, bro. Like I watched the growth go and all the numbers of the cars go up. I watched your numbers go up, how much you was making. I was like, bro, it's super dope that she was able to do that, man. Because a lot of people wouldn't be able to do what you do. They got to be executors or it won't make no sense.
Y'all got to say that was fun, too. It was fun, the energy we created, right? So I made 5,000. I shot it to you. Yo, bro, I just did 5,000 this week.
Right.
Next week, yo, 15. Oh, shit. Yo, let me send this off. Mitch did 15. But it wasn't necessarily documenting. It was more like just sharing the success because I think we were pushing each other.
For sure.
Or at a minimum, you was pushing me because
sure.
I'm like, all right, if he's doing this, damn, I made 30,000 this month. All right, screenshot that. But we really, the relationship really didn't start yet. It's just I'm shooting you 20, I'm shooting you 30 grand, shooting you 40 grand. Then I think it got to like 90. I was like, yo.
Crazy.
I got to call this motherfucker. Because I got to call him, but not just to talk about it, but just to let you know that, like, yo, I'm listening. I'm tapped in. I'm dialed in. I'm locked in. And it just started to turn. It just started to turn to where, you know, we regularly do over 100,000 a month.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And what you finished at last year? Because you started in the middle of the year. You ain't started at
I started mid-year. You know, it's tax time. So and we started like the first couple of months, if you look, and I know, and it's all, you know, on our Instagram. If you look, there's some like $4,000 months, then it goes to 8, then 20, 30. So tax time, I think we did like 900,000.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crucial. That's different, bro. Everybody can't say that.
Now, you know, when you leveled me up, you started to tell me to not only use the platform, but develop a relationship where people call you directly. You can charge the same. They're going to pay the same thing to you that they pay to the other platforms.
For sure.
So all the cars that I started to get, they started to level up. And people just calling me and paying me. And you develop a little bit more relationship, too, when you do it personally.
For sure.
So now they call you, you name the price, they pay it, gone. You feel more safer, too. You feel a lot more comfortable, too, when you rent to people.
You got to build relationships. I mean, that can be what's going to be building the community for your brand. So your company going to be known just because you're going to be known for all of the cars. So they going to, even if it's not them getting it, they're going to send other people to you.
Yeah.
And they're going to make sure you constantly got them cars booked. Especially when you're in a place like New York where they not really a lot of people doing it. It's really pretty much you and then whoever you allow in.
Yep.
That's going to be a major play for you. You're going to be the juggernaut and a pioneer around your area.
Yeah, it's happening. It's taking off. A lot of artists. I think I sent you.
Jada. You was with Jada.
Kiss was in the Maybach. His artist was in the Maybach a separate time.
Yeah. What's that dude name? He's an up-and-coming artist.
Millie's?
Yeah. Yeah, I seen that
Super
dude on
cool
a couple
dude.
things. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
So you got that smoker fee up out him.
I would talk about that. Yeah, he paid.
Hey, so look, I'll tell you my story. Look, so I had somebody had my i8. They had it for 4 days. They kept extending. The car got impounded. We don't let them. They're like, oh, can we just go get the the rental car agreement and go get it, pick it up. No, don't worry about that. We're going to go check on it first.
Right.
So we went to go check on it first. This will end up being like a 3-day rental, 3 or 4-day rental with the I-8. They got $1,000 deposit. If you smoke in my cars, the whole deposit is gone. So we took their deposit. They paid for the extra day because they wants to come up there. We came up there and got it. So we end up getting like $6,000 off a 3-day play for I-8.
Yeah.
So it's just like super dope. But every time it's like people got to understand smoking in my car is ultimate disrespect for me because a Maybach is not a Maybach if it smells like weed.
Agreed.
So weed back.
But so it's two things. One, at this point, we have a machine where it takes out 90% of the smell of smoke.
Right.
Two, the Maybachs come with a fume, a scent that blows through the car.
It cut in the cup and put in the glove box.
Yeah. It warms it up.
I just look like this.
Yeah. So Maybach is a little bit different. But the reason I didn't take it disrespectfully is because he called me and asked me. He called me. He said, "Hey, Charles, it's Jadakiss, right? So you almost got to let Jada smoke, kind of, sort of."
I ain't going to lie. I ain't letting nobody smoke. So, Jada, you know what it is. When you come to Push Exotics.
So they called. They asked if they could smoke. I said yes, right? Because and my driver. So when I rent the Maybach out, we rent it with a driver, a chauffeur for the most part.
For sure.
Just because people like that white glove service, they like to pull up in front of the spot.
For sure.
Have a driver open the door. And just an add-in to add some additional value, because I hear you talk about value.
Absolutely.
We provide complimentary champagne in the Maybach when it's rented.
Yeah.
And the additional value is oftentimes we pour the champagne for them. Mm-hmm. So the Maybach has 2 champagne holsters in the back. Mm-hmm. So I often tell them if the person drinks when they get in and out before they come in or out of like restaurants or whatever venue they've gone to, pour them a little glass of champagne just so when they get in they could continue to turn up. Right. Especially if they're on a date. So I've had it rented to some people in New York for date nights, and they really like that.
Absolutely.
That's
just the over delivery method, man. It's part of the game, and that's what really keeps the clients coming back. That's all you want to do. It's hardest thing to get is a new customer. Yeah. So you want to try to identify how to keep those customers that you got happy and keep coming back and telling everybody about you. Yep. So yeah, I mean, shout out to Jadakiss, man. They did good in the little versus battle, man. It was hard. Yeah. I definitely was dope for the culture. I always been a big fan of Jada for a long time. But if you smoke my vehicle, he banned for life. Just saying. But no, what's so funny, man? When my Lambo was in Miami, my Huracan, I had a green one, and Jada took a picture in front of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Posted on the gram. So, that was free promo for me because I ain't do nothing but just say, oh, yeah, look at our client Jada come posting.
Yeah.
He ain't rented. He got on lime green with the jaw.
It turns it up.
Man, what, man? I mean, whatever we can do to do some good promo. So I'm all about that. So always making relationships, too. Find ways. Let me tell you another bar that you can do with any business, really. Mm-hmm. When you do get those relationships with those type of dudes, partner up with them. Yeah. Y'all know what I mean by partner up? So a lot of people look for sponsorships, right? You ever see like a event and they say, oh, it's sponsored by this, and this. Mm-hmm. And it don't necessarily mean they really paid, but what it means is you can come to her instead of coming to people with sponsorship packages, you can come to them with partnership. Mm-hmm. So that's how it leads to you getting $1 million deals with certain people. It's how it leads to getting different type of affiliation. So if I come to you and say, look, I want to partner with you. Like this is my company. I got Push Exotics. I got every car. Mm-hmm. I want to partner with you and get you a percentage of this. Yeah. Bro, you don't know the type of promo you'll get by doing that, saying Jada sending all of us saying, oh, look, everybody got to go to Push Exotics from his page. Right. And then you go do it again with the next person you got a relationship. I want to partner with you. The verbiage is different, but it'll get you all the bookings you need. You know how many celebrities I meet just having these Lambos and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. All the rappers y'all ever seen, they come down here and try to get them because at the end of the day, you're going to find that a lot of those rappers, they really living off budget money, so they get advances. Yeah. But they do have likeness, they do have clout, they do have large followings. So what it is people like myself who do actually have the cars, they're gonna call me to get the vehicle so they can get their videos done, so they can go take their girls out. When they wanna go fly somebody in the city, they wanna get picked up from people like me. So what I do is understand my leverage and partner up with them. Likeness plus the business equals both of us eat and both of us happy. So I always come to them with partnership instead of even sponsorship. Yo, you should sponsor this. I'll give you this so you can do that. Nah, let's make money together. And they want to make money. Right.
Use that word partnership.
That word partnership is different, and that's how you get brands too to support your joint. Like, look, I'm having an event, I'm having a car meet. Push's Eyes having a car meet. You want to have a partnership. If you say it like that, everybody want to work with you. It's a bar for y'all.
It makes sense.
That's a bar for y'all. I got a whole event put together. Had 80 sponsors, all different business owners. We partnered up. We broke bread. It was easy. So that's the name of the game. And then once they get on it, they're gonna like what you got going on. They're gonna want to continue to do business, and then you're gonna be able to have cross marketing going on amongst their community and your community. No better way to level up in the game.
Appreciate it.
You already slow what it is.
You know
All
I'm
right, so
it. You know I'm taking it. You know I'm using
just,
it.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna shoot it to you. Y'all got the partnership.
No, I'm telling you, I already know you're gonna do it. I already know you're gonna do it, and I know when I'm giving certain bars to certain people, we're gonna be talking about this in 2 months, 3 months, and you're gonna be like, damn, I really went on the podcast and you said that, and I made all these millions of dollar partnerships.
Yeah, we've been doing it so far.
Yeah,
that's from 100 to 1,000, 10,000, 100,000.
Man, that's part of the game. Yeah. All right, so now another thing you've been doing, though, and what I've been learning from you is about the Landbank Properties. Right. So I really want to get into that because my following and the podcast viewers definitely need to know how to make money in that space because it's a huge open window. So first of all, tell people what a Landbank property is and then how we can get into the game.
All right. So Landbank is a public entity that focuses on converting problem properties into properties that are going to be of productive use. Problem properties have been identified as vacant properties, abandoned properties, eyesores in the neighborhood, or properties that deem neighborhoods unsafe. Okay.
So once you identify what a land bank is, how can we capitalize on them being there? Like what can we do?
So there's probably 3 different variations of how you get a land bank property. You can get an auction, some have own it now, and then some have requests for proposals. Okay. Oftentimes there's auctions, and then there's like own it now. Well, they'll list the property on their website. You can just bid on it for an auction, or you can submit a price for own it now.
That's dope. So you teach people how to get these properties, right?
Yep.
So if I was a novice coming to you on the street, how could you coach me into getting me my first property?
Well, I would do a small analysis on and just to try to identify what your budget is.
Okay.
Right? If you can afford something in an area close to where you live, we'd look there. So if you were in New York and you were a novice, I wouldn't recommend that you buy a land bank property or buy a property in New York. I would probably put you in a different market or recommend. One of the good things about buying land bank properties is you can execute on the entire process remotely. Right? So I would recommend, let's just say someone who wants to follow footsteps of mine, I would go into more of an emerging market where, again, we talk about the appreciation of the property. And it's a low entry point into the game of real estate.
All right, so Detroit area, we should be looking.
You could definitely look in Detroit. Detroit has a lot. Detroit has a ton of land bank properties. The city is behind people coming into the city and helping to revitalize the neighborhoods.
That's dope. So where do we find the properties? Like what we look at? What website?
So you just go online. There's 250 land banks across the United States. And then there's they're in cities and towns. So every town that has a land bank typically has a website, and you can go on the website and you get all the information. So for Detroit, which is just an entry point and a sweet spot where I've happened to make so much money, is the Detroit Land Bank Authority.
Detroit Land Bank Authority. Yeah. And okay, so after we identify the land banks and how do we find the properties? They already just have them already listed?
Yeah, so the Detroit Land Bank auctions 2 properties per day.
Damn.
They have an own it now section where they probably list about 20 a day that go for sale. You just put in an offer. If you're the highest offer at the end of 72 hours, so if we put in an offer, let's just say the offer started at $1,000. So if you put in an offer for $1,000, that'll start the clock. It's a 72-hour clock. If no one comes behind you and puts in a better offer or a more expensive offer, you'll win that property.
That's dope. And then once you get it, how do we start? Do we need to already have the funding on to, how to restore it, how to get it repaired?
So here's what's unique about land bank properties. And this is what I love about novice and entry level point into real estate. You don't already have to have the actual cash. You can buy the property. They actually ask you when you create your account to put a credit card on file, because if you win a bid, they're going to at least take $1,000 off your credit card. Going forward, so once you win a bid, they're going to give you a check. You get a compliance officer who's going to give you a checklist over 12 months. They ask that you complete the items on the checklist as far as renovation is concerned. Now, before closing, and this is what I like about it, you actually don't have to have cash. You can actually close with a credit card. You can put the balance. So if you win a property for $5,000, they'll take that initial $1,000, but the other $4,000 you can send to a title company with a credit card.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so break that down. You use like what? You use a certain, I know you told me before, you use plastic to do that?
Yep. So there's a company called Plastic where you can upload invoices and they will send out payments through a credit card of yours. So you upload your credit card to Plastic. Then if you have an invoice or just any item that you want to pay, you can just upload that invoice into Plastic. They will wire the funds to the title company. So this kind of helps us get into real estate where we don't have to have necessarily a whole bunch of cash. We don't even have to apply, or we don't even have to get approved through a mortgage company anymore. When you're buying a land bank property, you can actually do the whole thing from a credit card.
Okay, so but what about repairs? You gotta have the funds for the repairs, right?
You typically should have the funds for repairs, but there's a couple of ideas that I came up with that could help individuals that are new to get into the game. So just to start, if you want to get into the game and you just wanted to buy a property, make some money, and then maybe buy another one where you can renovate and keep it, you can buy the property, and my recommendation would be use a credit card, right? You'll buy the property really low. You use a credit card you can use a credit card for repairs, and this is how you can pay your contractors with a credit card through PayPal, which is one of the forms that I recommend because PayPal comes with purchase protection. So there's some recourse there if the contractor doesn't do the things that he should do. Mm-hmm. But again, one of the unique benefits is that with renovations, a lot of the stuff that you need is at Home Depot. So there's a way where you can buy the property with a credit card. You can then go apply for a credit card, for a Home Depot card, and get most of your supplies there. Home Depot also acts as a credit card, and it offers special financing if you have a land bank property.
Yo, so that just tells everybody that they need to get their personal credit up to be moving around like that.
Yeah.
Your personal credit is day one. I always try to talk about that and go back to it because at the end of the day, us trying to make a lot of moves with cash is a lot more difficult. Are you trying to stack up all the cash to be able to invest like I am? I'm using my credit for multiple businesses to be able to make multiple plays, and you got to wait until you get enough cash.
Yeah.
So that was a bar you just dropped. So I hope everybody paying attention to that Plastic bar because that joint, you can wire money any type of way with Plastic, which is fire. So, yeah.
Just to share, right? So the Maybach I bought with Plastic. I used the down payment for the Maybach with Plastic. I uploaded the purchase order and sent $25,000 to the auto dealership.
Crazy. And you use Plastic?
I use Plastic.
Super dope. He just bought a Maybach with a credit card.
$0 down.
$0
it equated to $0 down because
right, $0 down.
Plastic.
So if we look at like these down payments, like so if I got to go get a Lambo, I got to put $20,000 down and then finance the rest. If I got Plastic, I could put that with the credit card and run a play with Plastic. Correct. And have them wire the money, so I didn't put any money down.
And then you just pay your credit card bill.
Bars. Shout out to my boy Charles coming through, stepping up with the game. It's crazy. So listen, all right. So you teach this.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you on my podcast. I know you're gonna give us a discount code. Come on now.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, how much we gonna get? How much we gonna get on the podcast?
It's up to you, man.
I
feel like
100%
I
off.
owe it to you.
100% off. No, I'm just joking.
You set the tone because, I just feel indebted to you based off of all the game you shared. So whatever you want to offer to your followers, I'm cool with it.
Oh, that's dope. So let's just do like 20% off.
Yep.
With a no fluff promo code.
Okay.
So that's dope. So we'll get that out to y'all. Y'all make sure y'all tap in so y'all can learn how to get some of these land bank properties in places like Detroit, and a lot of the inner cities, man. There's a lot of properties everywhere that have land banks. So we can go ahead and get busy this year, man. So let's talk about, you got a course, you got mentorship. You teach that as well?
Definitely got mentorship. For those that may need a little bit more hand-holding, going through the steps. Because it could get challenging if it's your first time.
For sure.
Right?
I mean, we all should find people coming back from where we're trying to go.
Yeah.
So in particular, I want to be able to tap in with you and then figure out, like, you know, if I get a little flustered, I can always go tap back in and see what you got going on. You can help me along the way. That's dope, bro. All right, so, man, I just wanted to get that message out to him. You want to say anything to the public before we leave? Because I know you just gave him a lot of sauce.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and we hear a lot of this statement, generational wealth, right? And we hear real estate as one of those vehicles where you can create generational wealth and pass it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for our people, refinancing properties and that whole BRRRR strategy is not really a good look for us based on the position that we're in, right? Mm-hmm. And this is why. We buy a property, let's just say New York, for example. You got a 3-family property for $900,000, right? Mm-hmm. You buy that property with $100,000 down.
Mm-hmm.
So if you refinance that property and you took your $100,000 out, where do you think you took that $100,000 from? You took that $100,000 from the next generation because they're gonna have to pay that back. So you're really not burring anything. You know that strategy, the BRRRR strategy,
for sure,
right? You buy, you renovate, you refinance.
Yep.
That I don't think that strategy is for us. If we're really focused on building generational wealth, that goes against one of the core principles, right? You shouldn't refinance. What I think you should do, in my opinion, and what I've practiced, and which has enabled me to actually leave generational wealth while I'm still here, and quite a bit of it, right? We should focus on buying properties that we can afford. Furthermore, we should focus on buying properties that we can afford to keep, right? So if we buying properties that are debt-free, regardless of the current economic state, regardless of COVID, regardless of the moratorium on foreclosures, on landlord taking tenants to court, we really won't have to worry about that because we own the properties debt-free. Right?
Okay. That's an interesting
I think you and I talked about this maybe 2 or 3 days ago, right? The moratorium on foreclosures is about to be lifted.
For sure.
And if you think about how many people own properties, right? They may talk about all the fancy stuff, all the benefits to it, right? But they don't really talk about, during the pandemic, how many people didn't pay their rent.
Right.
Right. And it's understandable because there's a pandemic going on. There's quite a few landlords that couldn't pay, or quite a few property owners that couldn't pay their mortgage during that time. Naturally, it's a pandemic. People were laid off. And I was in a position, this is what really struck a chord with me, right? So I owned a block of properties on a street called Wayburn Street. It's on the east side of Detroit, right? Just renovated all the properties, just put all the tenants in. The pandemic hit. And I slept comfortable. When the tenants called me and they said, hey, Charles, you know, I got laid off. I can't pay the rent. It didn't really bother me. And I was able to almost give back to our people in a way of saying, hey, I understand, you know, this is a tough time. If you can't pay it, we'll figure out a way to make things happen for you. But you don't have to worry about leaving. Me as a landlord, I didn't have to kick my tenants out to jam somebody in that could pay the rent. It was kind of easy for me to say, hey, I understand we're all going through this. This is a global pandemic, right? So I slept well during the pandemic. And then what happened as things turned, the tenants, they almost felt indebted to me because I was able to kind of work through that. And they all caught up with the rent eventually. And it just helped me to understand the value of creating generational wealth versus debt.
Bar. And we're going to end it right there. That was a hell of a close. My boy, I appreciate you coming on the pod. This your boy, Pushmanmitch. I got my brother, Charles. Make sure y'all follow him on all his platforms. I'm going to list his Instagrams below right here, his websites, and the links for his course. We're going to make sure y'all get right in 2022. It's up. You know what it is. Skirt.
All these whips, I feel like Mitch.